Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey of My Mother's Son podcast. Today we're in Aberdeen, Maryland, just outside of Aberdeen, Maryland, and I'm joined with one of my former players who drove up here, is now living in the area, and drove up here to visit Sandy and I, and we're extremely grateful for that, Collin Fesi. Collin, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
No problem. I really do appreciate you making the drive and coming up here and hanging out with us for a little bit. So
appreciate you having me. It's a nice area.
Yeah, helped get the fire going after we had some issues with it, but seems like it's going pretty good out there now. So I think we're in the clear once we're done with the podcast. But so like I said, you're one of my former players, and I love getting together with you guys. You're now soon to be 27.
I am 27.
Soon to be 28. That's right. Jeez, I already forgot about that. Shows how old I'm getting. I can't even remember ages for an hour.
Subtract a year.
But just crazy for me to think of, you guys as adults. I mean, always think of you guys still as that 13, 14, 15-year-old kid that played for us. But, to see what you guys have accomplished in your lives definitely makes me proud for sure. So, I said, we're here. We're in Maryland. You recently moved here from California. Started out back in Ole, Pennsylvania. Went to California. Now you're in Maryland. So, tell me a little bit about what you're doing now. I know you're working for Pepsi, but tell me a little bit about what you're doing and what got you to Maryland.
Yeah, I'm a sales rep for Pepsi. Just drive around every day, trying to make some people happy.
Yeah.
These independent business owners. Some of them are happy to see me, some aren't. But
it's all about relationships, right? When you're in sales.
Yeah, basically, you have to be a team member with those people that they didn't choose to be with you. You didn't choose to be with them, but you're stuck together, working together on the same goal, which is make their business money and make my business money. So
yeah,
it's been some parts of it have been pretty rewarding. When I left California, one of my customers cried.
Wow.
He said I was like a son to him because from seeing him every week, always talk.
Wow.
Just kind of like this in his office.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I had some customers when I was in sales that were like that, and it is amazing the relationship you build. Because at the end of the day, I mean, people buy from people.
Yep.
They're not buying from Pepsi. I mean, they really aren't. Sure, that's the product you're selling, but they're buying because they enjoy doing business with you.
Yep.
And I think that's huge. So you talked about how you're on a team with your business partners. What from your playing days, how did your playing days in baseball help with this business team atmosphere that you're in now?
I think for sure it helped a lot, just as far as maybe me and a customer, we're not seeing eye to eye on things, but at the end of the day, we do have the same goal.
Right.
And that's something that we can both focus on together, is how can I help you and how can you help me
right
to achieve this goal together. So, I mean, that's been a good part of it. And then, I mean, just not the customer aspect, but since I've been working at Pepsi, I mean, I've been in 3 different facilities. I'm meeting new people all the time, so you get to meet a lot of different people, a lot of different, styles of working, different jobs in general. I mean, I started pretty much at the bottom there, so
yeah.
had to do a lot.
Yeah.
Just to get up to being, the small format sales, which is it's been good, I guess.
Yeah.
A little tired of it.
And how long have you been with Pepsi now?
4 years.
4 years. Like I said, started in California. You asked to transfer here to Maryland to get you a little closer to home.
Yep.
First of all, let's talk about that move from, small town Ole to Orange County, California. I mean, that had to be a little bit of a culture shock for you. Let's talk about that process a little bit and how tough it was to make that decision. I mean, that's a big decision at 20, you're 21?
21, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big decision to leave home, and I mean, not just leave home, but, going 3,000 plus miles away from home.
Yeah.
And that's pretty brave at that age.
Honestly, living there, in the beginning, I felt like I was in a different country, other than the road signs, which are all, they're all in English, and I know what they are, but I'm like, where the hell am I? Is this the same country? I mean, I drove over there, so I got to see everything along the way, but that was the first time, like, when I made it to, like, Colorado, it's the first time I ever even saw mountains that big, because
Right.
I never, I mean, maybe in Mexico I saw some, but I was, like, 9 years old when I went there,
Right.
so I don't remember all of those.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, but, yeah, the culture shock, just getting to know, like, how those people over there operate compared to the people you grew up with in your, 2,000 people population farm town.
Yeah.
It's a bit different. I'm trying to remember, like, what it was like just being. I mean, for the first couple months, it was mostly just exploring, having fun, good time, and then eventually it turned into serious, like, get your own place. I was working like 3 jobs at one point just because I was on my own, had nothing. So I don't know. I mean, I got to just meet so many different people. Like, maybe I don't remember all their names or like, exactly what we did together, but all of them, turned into me to form me into who I am at this point, just from each of those jobs and meeting them. So
isn't that so cool how they're all threads of what makes you up as a human being today? And that's one of the coolest things for Sandy and I on this journey is just, we love times like this where we get to connect with, old players and people and family that we know, but meeting the new people is so incredible. I mean, they make, it's amazing what a short 5-10 minute interaction with someone can do and the impact it actually makes on your life. So, I mean, to make that decision, I know you said there was a girl involved initially, but that's still a big decision. I mean, first of all, what did your parents think of that, when you kind of hit them with that news to start? Like, how'd that go over?
I mean, I was struggling through school, and then kind of a little bit removed from my parents' house in general. So I was just hanging out at my neighbor's house for a few months, and my girlfriend she'd already been in California. So I mean, we were obviously 3,000 miles apart, and then just it's like how bad you want to make it work. So I had nothing really going for me, so I just busted my butt at my my day job, which is not much, working at Walmart.
Right.
I said I need to be out of here in a year, and I need to be doing something else. So I got that done, and then my mom, I don't think she was super happy. We were kind of, in a spat at the moment. It's just typical, not getting along with my parents at this point in time.
Right.
But I don't know. I think it was hard. It was hard saying goodbye to people. I found it the easiest way that I knew I would get myself to actually do it was only tell the people I really needed to tell. I'd go around telling every single person that I'd ever met that I'm leaving. Just made sure I said goodbye to the people I needed to say goodbye to, or it would hurt me inside.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, there were some people I didn't even like. I had my neighbor. I did kind of feel bad, like, because I was living with him. I didn't tell him until like 10 days before I was leaving.
Wow.
It was a bit of a whim. Like, I decided, like, I probably only decided like 2 weeks before I told him, but still, I felt bad because I didn't know how to tell him I was leaving. So. Right. But yeah, and then.
So driving across the country by yourself to get out there, I mean, how much did you grow personally during that trip, and then once you got out there on your own?
I mean, going out there, I mean, I don't know if I grew too much, but I got to see a lot of cool things that, I don't know, I guess a lot of people don't really want to drive all the way across the country, and do that kind of stuff. They can't get there, but you see a lot of things that you're not expecting to see, right? I mean, you make your stops on your destinations that you want to see all the way across, and then everything you see along the way is just extra, like
bonus. Yeah,
I never knew how much I never want to go to Kansas again unless I drove through it. That is torture.
We have not been to Kansas yet. We've kind of done the outside. We're still Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, that whole area. We haven't hit yet.
I've got a terrible Missouri story from when my sister and I came back over here when I moved back. So bad. It was like traumatic.
But it's one thing Sandy and I have found is that like you said, you plan out your destinations, and then those places in between. Like just on the way up here last week, we were coming across West Virginia and happened to stop at a state park that was totally unexpected. Didn't plan on stopping, and we got there and walked around a little bit, and just incredible overlooks and stuff like that. And it was completely unplanned, but
Yeah.
it's one of the best stops we've had, and it was again only a couple hours. And then even with that, we went into the gift shop, and Uke went in there with us. The clerk let him in there, and talking to her for a little bit, and she was talking about her dogs and how much he reminded her of her dogs and the whole 9 yards. So just those interactions, I think, are really precious.
Even just stopping in like the convenience stores or like those little mom and pop shops along like the road when you're like, I don't even know what town I'm in right now, but I'm just gonna go in here and see what's around.
Right, need a water.
Yeah,
or
just
whatever.
kind of observe the people that live there. Like, this is what you do around here.
Yeah. That's cool. So you're in California for 6 years then, and decided to move back east. What led to that decision, and how did you go about approaching Pepsi? Because obviously, a big part of it is you wanted to stay with Pepsi.
I mean, well, when I first started working with Pepsi, I made sure, like when I was getting hired, I told them like I need to make sure like in this job I can relocate if I want to. Like I made sure of that immediately. Cause I'm like I know like that was 4 years ago, but I already knew at some point I don't want to stay here forever.
Right.
I do want to move. I don't want to stay in like Maryland forever. I'd like to get out of here someday. I mean, I'll live in it for 2 months, but we'll find out how long I want to be here.
Right.
But so what was the original question?
What led to the decision of wanting to come back east initially?
So I mean, mainly it was for my family, friends. Just 6 years by yourself doing your own thing. It gets tiresome after a while. I mean, I had some friends in California, people that I knew. Mostly just work people though. I mean, I was always talking to my friends from back home more often than I would talk to people there. They never really left me.
Right.
It's great about cell phones.
Yeah. Yeah. Cell phones and being able to use social media for good.
Yeah, but I mean, every 3-day weekend, like when people were, on holidays or stuff like that, it's like I gotta take like a 5-6 hour plane flight just to get home. And by the time you get home, you can probably spend, a total of 10 hours with the people that, maybe a little more than that. It's a little bit of exaggeration, but it's just not enough to warrant a plane flight all the time.
Yeah. No doubt about it. So how did your parents take the news when they knew you were going to be 2 hours away compared to?
They're much happier.
Yeah.
They're not too happy about Baltimore. They're like scared that I'm going to get murdered or something, but it's not that bad. At least where I go.
Yeah. Every city has its bad spots.
Yeah.
You just got to know where they are and to avoid those spots.
People at Pepsi have mapped them out for me. Like, just don't go here. If you go here, just make sure your Pepsi shirt is blaring. They should leave you alone. Just don't look at them. Mind your own business. You'll be all right. Cool. Yeah, I mean, 2 hours away from my parents is good enough where I can see them, but they don't ask me to come over and help them do stuff every weekend. It's perfect.
So you're off the painting crew.
Yeah. Can you watch the dog? No, I can't. I'm in Maryland. Sorry.
That works out well, though.
Yeah.
That works out well. Close enough, but far enough.
Yes.
It's perfect. So, so it seemed like Pepsi was pretty accommodating to get you out here. And was there a lot of retraining that you had to do, or you're basically doing the same job you were there, just new customers?
Here, I mean, it's not just the customers. I mean, a lot of them are similar. They all want the same things. At least, like, my customers are the store owners, so they mostly want the same thing. But just like the things people drink out here compared to where I was in California is so much different. Like, extra sweet tea here sells like water. Like, just pouring it down their throats. And I don't know what's going on. I texted my old boss. I'm like, dude, look at these sales here. He's like, this is the diabetes capital of the world. What's going on? I was like, dude, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I've never seen this much extra sweet tea. Like, they were gonna discontinue the extra sweet tea brand, like that specific package, because they just weren't getting the whole sales. And like, my boss here, he's like, we had to tell them to keep it on because that's our number one
Wow.
thing. So it's crazy. And yeah, I mean, they have things out in California like Manzanita Sol, which is like apple soda, which you can only really sell in like a high Hispanic market. Otherwise, it's not worth producing.
Right.
So I mean, there's a couple of things like that. So it's interesting getting to know people, and then I mean, I don't speak like great Spanish, like I can understand it, but they have like a kind of like a growing Hispanic community here. So I've been helping the guy in that area just kind of like, have better ideas of how to sell things into these stores. Like if there's like a Hispanic store mainly, because there's a bunch in Baltimore over in like Highland Town. But yeah, so I mean, it's been good to help him. I don't know if he's listening too much, but he seemed to be doing. I'm like in his area this week, so I've been helping a little bit.
That's cool. And it's funny how there's so many different cultures within our country. And that's one of the things we've seen from traveling to up into New England to down south to out west. I mean, it's just it's a massive country, and we've got, again, just so many completely different cultures. So it's interesting to hear you talk about, how the biggest seller here is something that would barely get off the shelf in California.
Right.
So it really is amazing. And I think I like your philosophy where you don't necessarily, want to plant roots here in Maryland. And, I like the fact that you're thinking of, continuing to move around. Because I mean, since Sandy and I have been doing this, I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, we lived in, I'd lived in Berks County all but 4 years of my life up until we, started this journey. And it's amazing how much, we've grown together as humans, just, seeing everything else this country has to offer. And it's one of the things I tell people all the time. I'm like, I don't know. I think the Native Americans might have been onto something by constantly being on the move and being nomadic, because that's one of the things that we've found is constantly moving and seeing the different cultures and getting to know the different people. I think it just makes you such a much more well-rounded human being. So as much as that culture shock was from Ole, Pennsylvania to Orange County, California to now Baltimore, Maryland, and I think you're doing, great things to expand your perspective and understanding of other people, for sure. So I commend you on that, without a doubt.
I commend you for doing this. It seems awesome.
It is. Maybe you can talk Pepsi into getting you a company RV and just travel all around.
Those super traveling salesmen.
There you go. There you go.
What's been your favorite place you've gone so far, though?
Everybody asks us that, and neither one of us can come up with an answer because there's so many things that have been so cool. Whether it was like I loved when we went up to Woodstock and visited the old Woodstock Festival site. I was telling you earlier about Mammoth Cave National Park. Sedona, Arizona was incredible. Long Beach, Washington was amazing. There's just you just can't dial it in to one thing. I mean, it's been so awesome. And again, these moments I cherish like none other. Being able to get together with you guys and Mike coming up here as well tonight. That means more to me than anything in the world, for sure. Because as a coach, we have an impact on your lives for a couple of years, and then you guys go off and spread your wings, and we don't always get to see that. I don't want to say finished product because we're all constantly evolving, but that seed that you planted, how it's bloomed. So to get together with you guys and see what you're doing now as adults, even though I'll always call you kids, no matter how old you are, that's really special for me, and it's special for Sandy too, seeing it. 'Cause, I mean, she made a lot of sacrifices, with me out coaching every single weekend for 30 some years. So I think it's rewarding for her as well to see some of that stuff. But
you certainly had an impact. I remember that 16U team. We were quite a little bit of rascally.
At times.
Pretty bad record to show for it too. That first year when we were 15. My goodness.
Yeah, but you know what?
Certainly grew from then.
And I think that's exactly right. I think those are the times where you really grow as a player and as a coach, when things aren't going right. Because, you know, we always talk about we're teaching you guys life lessons through the game. And the cold hard truth is, like, you're not always going to be winning in the game of life. You know, there's going to be a lot of times where, you know, you're struggling through that 0 for 12 slump or 0 for 20 slump or whatever the case is, and you got to learn how to deal with that. So I think, I mean, my proudest moments as a coach are probably those teams, even more so than the championship teams. I mean, I love the championship teams, but those teams that struggled on the field, I think, you know, helped me grow as a coach, and I certainly hope helped you guys grow as players, for sure. So
yeah, we saw. I mean, just as an example, we saw it the next season. When I was 15, we stunk, and then the next year we beat everybody.
Yeah,
and it was. I mean, a lot of it was us playing together for, you know, full season for most of us, just getting to know each other, and getting smarter and less immature, and making silly mistakes and decisions.
Yeah.
You remember when we were in Rehoboth Beach and I struck out? I must have been like 10 times in a row. Golden sombrero after golden sombrero.
Yeah.
Oh, that was rough. That taught me a lot of lessons. That certainly told me I was not always going to succeed.
And it did. I mean, it's a game of failure, you know. And when you can grasp that and you can battle through it, that's it. And that's why, you know, it's not always about the immediate win, you know, and the fact that you can look back now and see, you know, what we went through as 15-year-olds is what led to our success as 16-year-olds, and, you know, moving on to that 1800 team as well, which was, you know, very successful too. So it's good to see that you guys can recognize that now, for sure. Because again, I think a lot of times as a coach, you don't necessarily know, did I get through to these guys? You know, so to hear it, it's pretty special, for sure.
Yeah.
So
even then, I mean, it's like you handing us off to, you know, our high school coaches when we were going through that, and then, you know, the guys who played on afterwards, just constantly growing someone in your own way as much as you can, hand them off to the next guy, hoping he can do the same thing with him. So
it
was good, everybody.
Yeah, they always say, you know, it takes a village to raise a kid, and I mean, I think we had, you know, a pretty good group of parents that understood that as well, you know, so that always helped. But I mean, what else from your playing days have you been able to, you know, transfer now today in your late 20s into those life experiences that have, you know, helped you be successful in business or, you know, in any other aspect?
I think one thing I struggled more with when I was on the team was, you know, maybe not being able to get over some of the personal conflicts I might have had with other people. But then, you know, over time it got better as the years went on, and then I mean, I could look back on that and realize the negative aspects that they had on me personally, and maybe the people out, you know, the team I was with. So I mean, it helps you when you get older to know to kind of, you need to get over some things and work towards making something happen, something out of nothing that's there in the, you know, a business relationship for certain.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, just grinding out through some things with those guys. You know, you go through a lot of hard times with them. You know, a lot of stressful situations. Maybe, you know, at the end of the day, it's just a game, but you always want to win. And in life, when you just gotta remember to grind through. I mean, everything in life, I try to make it in like baseball terms sometimes. That's the easiest for me because it's what I grew up with. So,
not the truth.
I mean, who knows what inning I'm in right now, but it's not the last one. So there's still time.
Yeah, and that's it's a good way to put it. We never really know what inning we're in for sure in the game of life. Yeah. Hopefully we got some extra innings. So, well, No, I love that, and I love that you're able to kind of do that and relate it. I know I've always said my entire life that when things get tough on the the life side of things, that it's always been much easier for me to relate it to the game.
Yeah.
So that's helped me, and I'm glad to see that it helps you as well.
Honestly, the worst mistake my whole life was not just finding a school to go play college baseball at. I should have just gone to whoever would let me go there and done it, because boy, I didn't know what to do with myself when I went to school.
Right.
I was just gotten myself into trouble because I was like, all I never knew was go and play baseball after school,
right,
or do something, and then I didn't play for, God, what was it, 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I couldn't even watch baseball because I was so over it. I'm like, God, so mad at myself.
Yeah.
I can't even watch this. My deepest hopes and dreams, that should be me.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, because that it got kind of hard. What I was telling you with my brother earlier, how he's just not. He's a really great golfer.
Right.
But he just doesn't want to do it because he doesn't like school, and he's likes doing his own thing. So it's kind of hard watching him do this same kind of stuff I did.
Yeah.
You can only control him so much. He's his own person. But
yep, and that's exactly right. And I think as parents, as older siblings, that's probably the toughest thing, is that you can't protect them from making those same mistakes. You can give them advice, you can talk to them, but at the end of the day, they got to make the decision. And sometimes it's tough to watch them fall. But I think, again, that's all part of life. That's and they fall and they get up, and they fall and they get up, and then sooner or later they're just going to keep walking, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some sooner than later, but that's one of the things you got to do, is you just got to be able to hope that each time they fall, they're learning a little bit from that.
Every failure is a lesson.
Yep.
If you know how to, if you learn it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So just about out of time. Anything you want to talk about before I get to my final question?
No, I just appreciate you for having me. I'm glad I got to see you after so many years.
Like I said, it's it's awesome. When when I found out that two of you guys were going to be coming up here, it was just it made my day for sure. So it's been fun.
I wouldn't drive here after work for just any coach. Hope you know that.
Oh,
I was tired.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You're going to try to make me cry or something before we get off this podcast. So, but I really do appreciate that. So, as you know, the subtitle of the podcast is Many Little People in Many Little Places, and that comes from the song by Michael Franti, Gloria, where the opening lyrics go, "When many little people in many little places do many little things, and the whole world changes." So it's one of the little things that Collin does on a daily basis to make the world a little bit better place.
For me, the best way I do it is just with my job, because it's what I'm doing all the time. And I like working with these independent business owners, and because they're competing against corporations, chains, people that can beat them in pricing, blah, 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 everything. They've got everything they wish they could have. And for me, I meet some people, a lot of them are struggling, especially for the past couple years with everything going on.
Right.
So I obviously have limitations because I work for a huge company. You got to follow rules. But like I mentioned earlier with that guy who cried when I was leaving, I went into his account every day, and I just wanted to make his life a little better. Even if I was miserable, tired, I knew I gotta help Bob today.
Right.
Go into Bob, make his day a little better. That's just with everyone that I meet at work, which is nice. Some people, no matter what I do, they might just not be happy, but I'm still trying for them.
Yeah.
Even out, I don't know. I guess I kind of softened up over a long time. Someone asked me for money today, which I usually don't do, and I was like, I got some coins in here. I'll give them to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt pretty good about that today. He seemed like a nice person.
And you never know what he was going through,
Yeah,
so
never know.
He's
going through something worse than me, so.
Right. I love that. I love that answer. Well, Collin, again, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and help tell your story a little bit and coming up here. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we get through Maryland again and we can get together, and hopefully it's not whatever it's been, man, 10 years or 8 years, however long it's been. So
it'll be much sooner than that this time.
No doubt. No doubt about it. I would have looked you up when we got to California if you were still out there. So, people think I'm joking when I tell them I'm going to track you down, but I will. So yeah, I really do appreciate it. And for folks out there listening, be sure to check out my blogs and other podcasts at danclouser.com, and be sure to go on to Amazon and pick up either The Beauty of a Diamond Through the Eyes of a Coach or The Journey of My Mother's Son, Volume 1. Collin, thanks again.
Thank you, Dan.